Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today we have put together a training module and I'd like you to follow along with me so we can both learn together. The subject is modern dating isn't about finding love, it's about preserving leverage. And this is a Christian systems analysis of why clarity disappeared and how to date with truth, wisdom, and covenant level intent without being naive. So let's start here with a thesis. Modern dating is increasingly love adjacent, but commitment avoidant, meaning people want the benefits of closeness without the costs of responsibility. And this isn't mainly because people are worse, it's because the system rewards control, right? So this thesis statement is modern dating isn't about finding love, it's about preserving leverage. Leverage means staying emotionally and relationally positioned so you can leave easily. Avoid accountability and never be the one who needs more. And some definitions to keep in mind: love in practice is consistent, honest movement toward one another. Love isn't just a feeling, it's repeated actions that build safety over time. And leverage is staying in control so you can exit with minimal cost. You can keep power by staying slightly detached, slightly ambiguous, and hard to hold accountable. Translation: intimacy with an exit strategy. You're close enough to receive benefits, distant enough to avoid obligation. Next is why this matters. When leverage becomes normal, clarity becomes too intense. Honesty gets reframed as pressure because it removes the escape hatch. Commitment becomes too soon. People delay decisions to protect optionality, not because they're truly discerning. Integrity becomes negotiable. Technically, I never promised replaces straightforward truth. And half choosing becomes accepted. People tolerate ambiguity as if it's a valid relationship stage instead of a warning sign. So let's begin with Module 1, the leverage era. We have to name the game here. It's all about leverage, unfortunately. So the principle: leverage is the modern default. Stay close enough to benefit, distant enough to escape. Many people aren't pursuing union, they're preserving control. The modern patterns to look out for: the let's just vibe replaces clarity, where the vibe becomes an excuse to avoid defining intent. The talking stage becomes indefinite. The relationship never progresses because progress would require commitment. Labels are treated like pressure, not honesty. Naming reality forces responsibility, so it's avoided. The hidden cost to all of this: confusion becomes chronic. Your mind stays in suspense instead of stability. Attachment forms around uncertainty. Intermittent attention creates stronger bonding than consistency. Anxiety gets mistaken for chemistry. Intensity feels like depth when you're starving for certainty. Most important of all, to pay attention to each module, we have God's design, right? His remedy. So God's way is not relational fog. It's truth with integrity. And I want to support this with a verse in the Bible. Matthew chapter 5, verse 37 states, "Let your yes mean yes, and your no mean no. Anything more is from the evil one." Let that sink in, okay? And this means God calls for clean, honest clarity. No spin, no loopholes, no technically. Your yes, your no should be trustworthy, right? Makes sense. Godly love doesn't require confusion to be exciting. The remedy for all this: normalize clarity early, right? Be upfront. A sincere connection can withstand being named. Treat ambiguity as information, not romance, meaning undefined connection often signals fear or convenience. And value peace as a sign of health, meaning stability isn't boredom, it's maturity, right? The truth to all this is if it's real, it can be named. What cannot be spoken plainly usually cannot be built safely. Let's move on to Module 2, why leverage became normal. The option economy. So more options don't automatically create better relationships. They create comparison addiction and commitment paralysis. Meaning when choices feel infinite, people keep evaluating and stop building. We see people every day treating it normally to always seeking better, seeking more opportunities, seeking more incentives, right? We're basically thinking too much about ourselves and not enough for others. So the modern patterns to look out for, the dating apps. Apps train always browse behavior, meaning people stay mentally available to better, even while dating someone. The fear of choosing wrong replaces discernment, meaning wisdom asks, is this aligned? Where fear asks, what if I miss out? Right? We see that a lot today. The fear of missing out culture, where one never truly settles because they always think something is better out there. And eventually they end up with nothing of meaning, right? Next, high standards become a hiding place, meaning sometimes standards are real, sometimes they're avoidance with a clean label. The hidden cost of all of this, maybe better kills the peace. You can't cherish what you keep comparing, and evaluation replaces construction. You stay in interview mode and never enter building mode. Novelty gets confused with compatibility. Newness excites the brain, but doesn't predict character. In God's design for all of this, wisdom chooses with discernment, not perfectionism. Where Proverbs repeatedly frames wisdom as direction plus integrity. So covenant is not the best possible option. It's faithful commitment to what's aligned. Okay, the remedy for all of this is define the non-negotiables around character and faith. Looks and vibes fade out, but integrity and values decide outcomes. Stop treating commitment as loss. Commitment is not a cage, it's a foundation. It's where it all starts. Next, choose alignment over endless optimization. Meaning the goal is a faithful relationship, not a perfect product. And the framework, we have the leverage loop here. It looks like infinite options leads to comparison, which leads to fear, which leads to ambiguity, which leads to low trust, leading to short-term behavior, and that leads back to infinite options, right? It's a vicious cycle. And this system keeps people cycling because ambiguity preserves control. The loop breakers, clarity, boundaries, community, and time, right? Patience is key. These force reality to reveal itself and prevent endless drifting. The truth is, options don't produce peace. Alignment does. Because peace comes from integrity, not quantity of choices. In Module 3, we have the counterfeit. Intimacy without covenant. Intimacy without covenant. The principle is modern dating often offers closeness without responsibility, right? People want relationship benefits without relationship obligations. They want a quick in and a quick out. The modern patterns to look out for, situationships normalize half commitment, meaning it's connection without ownership. Access is given without definition, where emotional and physical benefits show up while commitment stays unclear, and the I'm not ready while still consuming benefits, meaning delay becomes a way to extract without building. The hidden cost for this: emotional debt with no protection. You pay relationally, but you're not secured relationally. Next, bonding to potential instead of reality, meaning you fall in love with what could be, not what is. Then we have pain of a relationship without the safety of one, meaning you grieve like you were committed, but weren't treated like you were. But God's design is love honors people. Love doesn't use them. And we have to back this up with 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5 states, "It is not rude. It does not seek its own interests. It is not quick-tempered. It does not brood over injury." And this means that real love isn't self-centered or scorekeeping. It doesn't use people, explode easily, or keep a mental file of wrongs, which goes back to forgiveness, right? Godly love refuses take without covenant. So commitment is really important. The remedy for all this: match access to intent, meaning greater access should correspond to greater responsibility. Require alignment before deep attachment. Attachment should follow evidence, not fantasy. And treat undefined as a decision. If someone refuses clarity, that's clarity in and of itself, right? And we have a framework here put together into 3 layers. First is attraction, known as chemistry, what draws you in initially. Second, we have alignment, which is values plus character plus the fruit, right? What determines whether it lasts. And third, we have assignment, direction plus life building, meaning what you're actually building together, right? So we have 3: attraction, alignment, and assignment. Many modern relationships overfeed attraction and ignore alignment, then collapse later. And the truth is, access is not love. Love proves itself through responsibility, not proximity. In Module 4, we have clarity is a discipline, not a mood. Principle being ambiguity is rarely romantic mystery. It's often fear with better PR. Meaning fog keeps people safe from responsibility. The modern patterns: go with the flow becomes a strategy. It prevents being held accountable to a direction. No labels preserves optionality. If it's unnamed, it can be denied. Ghosting replaces honest conflict. Avoidance becomes a modern breakup. Hidden cost to all this is you can't build trust in fog, right? Trust grows where expectations are clear. Your nervous system lives in suspense. Uncertainty keeps you emotionally on edge, and you negotiate dignity to maintain access, meaning you lower your standards to keep the connection alive. God's design: truth protects people from harm. So clarity is integrity, which goes back to the same Matthew chapter 5, verse 37 principle. God doesn't call you to manipulation. He calls you to clean speech, honesty, transparency. The remedy: treat clarity as love, not intensity, because clarity reduces harm for both people. Refuse indefinite timelines. Time reveals intent. Endless time hides it. Choose honest discomfort over dishonest comfort, meaning avoiding truth costs much more later. And truth is, confusion is expensive, right? It costs time, your peace, and your self-respect. Next, in Module 5, we have leverage behaviors, the red flags to look out for, the red flags that look normal now, right? The principle is leverage has tells. It leaves a pattern. You don't detect leverage by one moment. You detect it by repeated behavior, patterns. So the modern patterns to look out for is consistent inconsistency, the hot and the cold, both extremes, right? They offer just enough to keep you attached, not enough to build. The future fog, meaning no direction, no integration. If you never entered their real life, you're being kept optional. Selective intimacy, meaning wants closeness but dodges commitment. They want benefits without responsibility. Control through distance. They pull away to regain power. Where distance becomes a tool to make you chase. And technicalities, like I never said we were anything. And that means they use these loopholes to avoid accountability. The hidden cost, you become an option, not a choice. Your value gets reduced to convenience. You self-abandon to maintain proximity. You tolerate what you shouldn't to avoid losing them. And your standards erode slowly and then suddenly, where your compromise compounds until you don't recognize yourself anymore. And by God's design, discernment is wisdom, not cynicism, where fruit matters more than charm. To back it up, we have Matthew chapter 7, verse 16. By their fruits you will know them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? And this means you judge a person by patterns and outcomes, not charm or promises. Consistency, or the fruit, reveals the truth. God invites you to evaluate outcomes, not promises. The remedy for all this is evaluate patterns over words, right? Consistency exposes intent. Require visible direction, not vague feelings, because mature love has trajectory. And don't spiritualize confusion, because God's peace doesn't require relational chaos. Truth is, love moves forward. Leverage keeps you guessing. Love builds stability. Leverage protects power. Module 6, we have covenant standards without desperation. Principle being, standards aren't demand, they're direction. Standards don't force someone to commit, they protect you from wasting time. And the modern patterns to look out for is people shrink needs to avoid scaring someone off, meaning they fear honesty will cost them access. The hidden cost, dignity traded for attention. You accept less to keep someone close. Self-betrayal renamed being chill. You suppress truth to appear low maintenance. And bare minimum becomes baseline. You reward inconsistency so it repeats. By God's design, you can be kind and clear because patience isn't passivity, love is truthful. Godly love doesn't manipulate and it doesn't tolerate deception. The remedy? State your standards early, calmly, and without apology. The right person respects clarity. Stop negotiating core values. Compromise on foundations becomes collapse later. And let misalignment be clean information, meaning rejection can be protection. In the framework, we have the standards triangle, 3 of them: consistency, clarity, and direction. So a stable relationship needs all 3. Consistency, actions matches their words. Reliability is the foundation of trust. Clarity, the intent is stated early. You cannot build what you refuse to define. And direction, trajectory is visible. If it's going nowhere, it will hurt everywhere. If it's going nowhere, it will hurt everywhere. And the truth is, if honesty scares them, it saves you. It saves you time and your self-respect. Resistance to clarity often reveals wrong intent. And in Module 7, we have a godly system in modern reality. Dating should have phases, not drift. Principle being healthy relationships progress. They don't float, right? Drift is where leverage thrives because nothing has to be decided. Phase 1, we have the discovery phase, which is typically weeks 1 to 2 during courting, dating. Intent is surfaced early. Intent is surfaced early. You learn what they're actually pursuing. Consistency is observed. Early effort usually predicts later effort. And chemistry is acknowledged, not worshipped. Chemistry is real, but it's not a character test. In phase 2, we have discernment. Typically weeks 3 to 6. First, time tests character, meaning people can perform briefly, but they can't fake the fruits long term, right? Next, repair is observed, how friction is handled. Healthy people repair, unhealthy people deflect or simply disappear. And finally, integration begins, but not in secrecy. If you're hidden, you're being managed, being controlled in a way. And phase 3, we have direction. Typically weeks 6 to 10, trajectory becomes clear. Mature connections naturally move toward definition. Ambiguity reveals itself as lifestyle, or it ends. Some people don't need time, they need indefinite control. But by God's design, love grows where integrity is normal, not where confusion is constant. Meaning godly love moves toward truth and responsibility. The remedy? Refuse indefinite phases. Undefined seasons become wasted seasons. Require honest progression. Progress doesn't mean rushing, it means clarity increases. And choose relationships that can be seen in the light. Meaning what is healthy does not need hiding. Truth is, a godly relationship has direction, not drift, right? Godly love doesn't feed on uncertainty. Module 8, we have the real battle. From control to trust. The principle, leverage is self-protection without surrender, such as I stay safe by staying in control. It's fear-based strategy disguised as wisdom. The patterns to look out for, people keeping exits open because they feel safer when they can leave instantly. Testing people instead of trusting God. Manipulation becomes discernment, but it's really fear. And needing to be chosen before offering clarity. Meaning people withhold truth until they feel secure. They're actually creating the insecurity. The hidden cost? Covenant can't form where escape is required. Covenant needs stability. Leverage requires an exit. You can't be deeply known while performing. Right? Performance attracts attention, not intimacy. And you can't receive love if you demand control first. Control, it blocks vulnerability. And vulnerability is where love lies. By God's design, God calls you to truth, wisdom, and courage, not fear-driven strategy. God's peace isn't built on manipulation. It's built on integrity. In 1 John chapter 4, verse 18, it states, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. And so, one who fears is not yet perfect in love." Mature love pushes out fear-based control. When fear runs the relationship, intimacy can't fully develop. And the remedy? Replace control with clean truth. Honest clarity is safer than strategic ambiguity. Choose courage over image management. Being real, being authentic, filters faster than being impressive, saving you your precious time. And let God protect you through discernment, not games. Because wisdom is proactive and clean, and games are reactive and covert. Because the truth is, covenant cannot be built by people who need an escape plan. If escape is required, trust is impossible. Now we have a summary of what breaks the leverage error. What modern dating rewards? It rewards ambiguity, avoiding responsibility, rewards optionality because it preserves power, rewards emotional distance because it reduces vulnerability, and it rewards whoever cares less wins because attachment becomes a liability. But what God's design rewards, the true remedy, starts with truth. Integrity protects people. Consistency is where stability builds trust. Direction is where love has intent. And integrity under pressure is where character is revealed over time. And for the final review, modern dating often prioritizes leverage over love, control over covenant. Ambiguity is frequently a strategy, not a season. It keeps exits unlocked. God's design is truth plus integrity plus covenant trajectory. Because love that can stand in the light is love worth pursuing. The goal isn't paranoia, it's clean wisdom, clear direction. And next we have several action items that I would like you to practice and incorporate in your life. First, we have stop romanticizing ambiguity, meaning confusion is not depth, it's usually avoidance. You watch out for the patterns, not promises, because words are easy and consistency is costly, right? Require the standards triangle, which are consistency, clarity, and direction. Without these, leverage will dominate. And do not give covenant level access to non-covenant intent, because access without responsibility creates damage. And finally, choose alignment over adrenaline, meaning peace is often the sign you're finally safe. So to close this out, I want you guys to remember, modern dating teaches you to protect power, which is wrong. God's design teaches you to protect truth. And truth over time selects the right person faster than chemistry ever will. And that concludes the training module. I hope you guys gain a lot of insight and wisdom and knowledge from all of this. If you did, consider liking the video to spread the truth, and also subscribe. And please share this with a friend you think might actually benefit from all this. And stay tuned for more content just like this. Thank you for watching and staying with me. I will see you soon. Thank you and God bless.